Hi there, this is Suzanne Atkinson, and you're listening to Triathlon Research Radio. I'd like to welcome you to today's podcast with Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson is a running coach in Boulder, Colorado. In this podcast, we learn about Jay's background as both a track and field athlete as well as a run coach, and he takes us through his development of his coaching philosophy, including many of the influences that he's had during his life. Jay is an excellent guest to have on this podcast for a number of reasons. He's currently an author for Running Times magazine. He also writes for Active.com. Jay shares with us 3 things that all triathletes should be doing before and after every run that don't take up much time at all. And these 3 things are really going to influence the ability to create maximum aerobic benefits in terms of VO2 max, as well as help prevent injury. So I hope you'll stay tuned and learn more from Jay as I learn more about him and learn about his coaching philosophy.
Hi, this is Mark Allen, 6-time Ironman Triathlon World Champion and author of The Art of Competition. Do you want to transform your entire experience in the sport of triathlon? If you do, come put that transformation in place at the Triathlon Research High Performance Camp in Boulder, Colorado from August 25th through 29th. I'll be there for the closing day of this amazing camp, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of it. I'll be presenting some thought-provoking insights from my most recent book, The Art of Competition, where I will show you how you can get more out of the sport and how you can transfer those principles to all areas of your life. I'll also be there for the entire day's worth of workouts for the grand finale of your 5 days exploring and experiencing new levels in your triathlon performance. If you sign up for the Triathlon Research Camp, you'll get a free copy of my book, which I'll be happy to sign for you at the dinner that we'll all share together on the closing day. The Triathlon Research Camp is going to be incredible. To take part in this once-in-a-lifetime experience, go to triathlonresearch.org/camp. But please hurry, as spots are going to be limited so that we can provide you with the best possible personal coaching experience.
Welcome to Triathlon Research, the podcast that brings together the world's best triathlon coaches, athletes, equipment experts, and medical professionals to get you the right information that you need to race past your personal best and get more enjoyment out of your triathlon journey. Triathlon Research, where we teach you how to train smart. Here's your host, Suzanne Atkinson, MD, founder and head coach of Steel City Endurance.
Hi there, this is Suzanne Atkinson with Triathlon Research Podcast, and today I'm interviewing Jay Johnson in Boulder, Colorado. How are you today, Jay?
I'm good, Suzanne. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us today. I know you've got a busy day ahead.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to the triathlon world. I spend my time in the world of running, so this is going to be fun.
Great. Well, just to give you guys a little bit of a background about Jay, Jay is primarily a runner and a running coach. And Jay, you can correct me if I have anything incorrect here. Jay started off his run coaching career in Pratt Community College in Pratt, Kansas, and then moved to CU in Boulder, Colorado. Now, Jay, you're currently running training camps for high school athletes and their coaches, and also doing some writing for 2 different running outlets. Is that correct?
Yeah, I write frequently for Running Times, so I think that's saying that I'm a contributor to Running Times, which is far and away the most, I don't want to say science-based, but it's the magazine that serious runners read. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's Runner's World out there, and it's cool because I'm about to offend Runner's World, but because they're owned by the same company, I don't think they can be too offended. You know, if you're out there and you really want to understand running, you can buy Running Times. I think it's $12 for a year. It's really great information. And then I do some writing for Active.com. Mm-hmm. And many people maybe have used Active.com to sign up for races, but Active.com also writes or presents articles, and I write some articles for them. Those articles are a little more for the recreational runner, mm-hmm. whereas the Running Times article, we can assume that the person understands some training theory and just has a higher level of understanding of running training.
So you're writing specifically to 2 different audiences when you pen your articles for each outlet?
Yes. You know, my blog is coachjjohnson.com, and That's probably the most specific writing I do. I mean, anybody in this day and age can have a blog, and I really don't water down any of that content. I could see how somebody who's new to running could come and read some of those articles and not quite understand them. But actually, the post I wrote today was just a very simple one about overtraining and trying to make sure that we're not overtrained, that we need to value being undertrained, which I think is maybe counterintuitive for a lot of athletes. My brief understanding of the triathlon world is that a lot of athletes are overtrained. And so trying to trust this idea that, more is not always the better course, I think is hard sometimes.
Yeah, that's definitely a common theme. And personally, for me as an athlete, I go through that over and over, not always intentionally, where I'm feeling pretty good with my training. And I think that, maybe I'll push it a little bit. I'm 45 years old and I keep wanting to feel like I did when I was 25. And I don't know if that'll ever happen, but what I end up doing is just a little too much for a couple days in a row. And then, boy, do I pay for it if I don't recover. So that would be a case of kind of shorter term overtraining. But what it does is impacts my ability to be consistent for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days while I'm recovering for whatever silly things I did.
I really love that you bring up the idea of consistency. I have a site, the thing I'm most excited by right now is an educational site for high school running coaches. So these are coaches who coach high school cross country and track, and it's simply called highschoolrunningcoach.com. But what we're doing is featuring a coach each month, and the first coach is one of the best coaches in the country. And when I asked him on a podcast, what's the most important variable that he thinks he sees not only in his program's training, but that he sees in other programs, is consistency. So we're talking about consistency week to week, month to month. And then, he gives his athletes a couple weeks off after each season. So they're basically training, and again, these are younger athletes.
Sure.
They're training 48 weeks a year. But his point is, if you're consistent with your training within those 48 weeks a year, you're going to get very fit and you're going to run fast. And I think consistency, when you talk to elite level runners and elite athletes, is something that they always are coming back to. I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but it's exactly what you were talking about. This idea that over the course of 2 or 3 days, they train a little bit too hard, but then they need to back off for 4 or 5 days. So it's this idea of 2 steps forward, but unfortunately 4 steps back, where you'd be better off taking, a third of a step or a half of a step every day for day upon day.
Yeah, that's so true. And, I've gone through several cycles myself of not doing much training for a while. I think I am in my head. I'm kind of fooling myself that, walking to the coffee shop, which is 2 blocks away and back, is some kind of exercise. But, if I've been out of exercise for a while and then I get back into it and I start ramping up for some event that may be 3, 4, even 6 months in the future, I've learned over time that for me personally, I'm much better off doing what I call just going through the motions. So let's just suppose that I was going to do a 25-minute circuit weight routine just to wake up some muscles I haven't been using. I will go through the physical motions without using any weights at all, because that's going to get me moving, get my range of motion going, get some blood flow going. And I know 100% for sure that I'm not going to feel sore the next day. And then I can, continue that process. And whether it's running, biking, or swimming, the same sort of thing. I always try to undershoot what I think I can do on the first day by at least 50 to 60%, because I know for sure that I'm going to enjoy it better and feel good afterwards, and I can go back and do it again.
Yeah, great. I think that makes a lot of sense. And, one of the things I'm known for in the running world is to do a lot of, however you want to term it, ancillary training or ancillary training.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah, so we can talk about that. The bottom line is, I think sometimes after we've trained hard, we just need to do some things to encourage blood flow, to get those large muscle groups, to get some blood back to them. Because as we know, blood is oxygen rich, and we want to get oxygen to those areas.
Sure, that's how recovery and healing happens, right?
Yeah.